Hey everyone, this is Tracy Panase with Just Between Friends, and I am here to give you some basic guidelines for clothing and shoe inspection for the upcoming fall events. There are some things that are old hat and that are really general, but just as review, all of the clothing brought to the Just Between Friends sale does need to be on hangers. We accept both plastic or wire hangers. Whatever you have is perfectly fine. The only exception is for onesies or sleepers under 24 months. Those may be placed into a Ziploc bag. All of your hangers need to be facing the same direction, and the proper direction is in the form of a question mark with the opening pointing to the left, and the tag itself is on the right hand side of the item. If you are tagging using a tag gun, you want to look for the thickest part of the clothing item, and that could be the actual size label within the garment. That is fine, and that's a good place to place the tag gun so you don't damage your clothing item. And then finally, all of your tags must be printed on white cardstock. So let's talk about what might not be so obvious, and that is seasonal guidelines. Everything must be seasonally appropriate except for maternity. And so, what we mean by that is we're looking for things that your child would wear between the months of September and April and that are designed for cooler weather. So, fall, winter attire is what is appropriate for the fall events. That means there are no shorts, swimsuits, light colors, or lighter weight fabrics that are accepted at the sale because those are generally worn in warmer weather. We do not accept short sleeves over 24 months, and for under 24 months, they're layering pieces only. The only exception to that rule is a polo type shirt, and I'll show you an example of that, or a sports team that plays in the fall, such as the Eagles or Penn State, or a graphic t-shirt for bigger kids. Those are brands like Abercrombie, American Eagle, Aeropostale, things that teens typically wear and that are short sleeves. Capris are okay as long as they're not pastels or linen fabric. Distressed jeans are okay, but holes that are not distressed are not okay. Holiday themed for Halloween through Easter are okay. Some of our spring events this coming year are before Easter and some are after Easter, so we will accept Easter items at the fall sale. You may bring up to size 18 for boys and juniors for girls, and there are two areas where we have limits on the number of items you can bring. One of them is juniors. Juniors are defined as size 0 to 5, and they must be name brands and brands that are juniors. A brand like Banana Republic is typically not a juniors brand. That's a women's brand. Ann Taylor is a women's brand versus things like American Eagle, Abercrombie, etc. For maternity, we also have a limit of 10 items. However, for maternity, it can be all seasons, and those must also be name brands. So a maternity brand like Pea in the Pod, Motherhood Maternity, Liz Lang for Target, those are all fine. And the list of brands can be found on the merchandise prep page of our website. We do not accept adult clothing or things that are extra large and marked as maternity. So let's look at some obvious examples. So these three things, it, one is fleece, one is a sweatshirt material, the other is sweater. Those are things that are fairly typical that you would see your child wearing between September and April, and those are all great to bring to the event. Some things that are also probably fairly obvious that are not okay. Everything on this page is things that your child would probably wear between April and September. So it would be okay for the spring sale, but not for the fall sale. And this t-shirt at the bottom does not fit within the classification of a graphic tee. So that is just more of a generic t-shirt. It's not from Abercrombie or Aeropostale. So therefore that would be unacceptable for fall, acceptable for spring, summer. Some gray areas that we see a lot of. Everything on this page is okay. So this is a no sleeve jumper, but the fabric is it's heavier weight. It's something that would generally be worn by a little girl over the holidays. Same thing with this cap sleeved dress. It's velvet and taffeta, so those fabrics are things that would be worn usually around the holidays. A short sleeve t-shirt, but it's one of the brands that I mentioned, and then a polo type shirt. A lot of kids wear these with their school uniforms, so we do accept polo type shirts for all sizes. Those are okay for the fall event. The condition of your clothing is also something that is somewhat subjective, but some general guidelines and things to be thinking about as you're tagging your items. You want to eliminate anything that has rips, stains, tears, or excessive wear. We cannot accept those at the JBF sale. Pay close attention if you're tagging infant sized items for any sort of formula stains. Look at your items under really good light to try to sort those things out. Make sure that all of your zippers work, that the buttons are on the items, and that the snaps are snapped. Clothing needs to smell good, um, no smoke or pet odor. Also, clothing needs to look good. So make sure your items are clean. You use a wrinkle release so that they're not all wrinkly and balled up. Those are really going to help your items to sell. And then finally, look for excessive pilling on PJs. So you don't want to have a whole lot of pilling. We will be unable to accept those. Here's some photos of what I'm talking about, and these are fairly obvious. So just be sure to look closely for any sort of stains, any sort of formula, or the pilling on your PJs. These are all things that we pulled from the JBF sale, so try to keep these things at home or wash them thoroughly so that you will sail through inspection. Your shoes are another area where there can be a lot of gray area. Shoes must be new or gently worn. Be really picky with your shoes. We have a specific shoe inspection so that the clothing goes to one area and the shoes go to the other area so that we can provide the proper attention that's needed to weed through things and have the best quality items on the sales floor. You want to make sure your shoes do not have excessive scuff marks, rips, or that they're overly dirty on the soles. Athletic cleats and dance shoes, there's a little bit more grace with those items because the first time your kid wears them, the chances are they're going to get a scuff mark on them. But please use good judgment when bringing those items to the sale. And finally, shoes must be appropriate for kids. We don't accept high heels or over a size 5.5 for children, which is the equivalent to size 7.5 for adults. Some examples of what's in for kids. So the two pairs of shoes on the left-hand side of my screen, those, they do have some little scuff marks you'll see in the toes, but nothing terribly bad. And they are the appropriate material. So the suede shoes are great for the fall. Again, you want to be thinking about between September and April. We do accept both snow boots and rain boots for the fall sale. And then big kids' shoes must be of the appropriate size. Some examples of what's out. So the shoes on the left, these are in mint condition, but they're open-toed sandals. So those are something that we would accept for the spring, but not for the fall. These shoes are both open-toed and really, really dirty. So you want to look inside the shoe to make sure that there's no rips or tears. And then pay close attention to the toes and the heels. If there's a lot of scuff marks in the leather, those are things that we are unable to accept simply because people don't buy them. So don't take the time to tag it if you don't think that you yourself would buy that item. And then finally, clean up your shoes. So it's amazing what a magic eraser can do. This shoe on the left is, it's not overly dirty, but it's kind of dirty. So, just take a magic eraser over it and you can see what it does on the right, the difference that makes. And then the bottoms of your shoes, take a little brush or a toothbrush to just kind of clean them up so that your shoes have the best opportunity to sell. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions as you're tagging your items, please don't hesitate to call or email me, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.